Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, October 18th, 2024. Welcome to another eBay video. Tonight we're going to be discussing quite a few topics. Number one, insanely lowball offers. We're going to be discussing that line that we all hate to hear. What is your best price? We're also going to discuss promoted listings and a few other interesting eBay topics, including returns that I think you will find very interesting. We're going to have just one cutaway today, and it's going to deal with returns. I think you'll enjoy that especially. But let's start off with some of the more lightweight topics. We'll start off with lowball offers. This week, for some reason, I got an insane amount of lowball offers. I cannot understand how any reasonable buyer would offer 25% of the asking price. Yet, it's been happening consistently. I had one the other day that really made me shake my head in disbelief. I had an item that was approximately $38. The person who lived in California sent me a lowball offer of $15. Well, less than half. Naturally, I declined it right away. Within 30 seconds, I hear the piano music. So I thought it was going to be another offer from this guy. But no. He writes to me and said, "What is your best price?" I consider this a real slap in the face, all right? Because I do have best offer on my listings, and if he really wanted it for, let's just say, $20, he could have entered that amount, but he didn't. Also, keep in mind, he's in the most expensive state for me to ship to, all the way out in California. I'm here on the East Coast. I wrote back to him and said, "You sent me an offer of less than half of what I'm asking. And now you want to know what my best price is?" I said, "Get it locally, out in California. This way you'll save on the shipping." How does that sound? And then I blocked him. So I guess I'll never find out how it sounded. So yeah, as I said, I had quite a few of them this week. I would like to emphasize that I think everybody should be in promoted listings general at the very least to help get your item up in search on eBay. I know a lot of you guys don't like spending extra money on the advertising, and nobody does, okay? But the way things are right now, you really have no choice. Because if you're not in it, you're going to be way down the bottom of the barrel, okay? I am in with every single one of my items at 5%. That is what I'm bidding. eBay is suggesting I bid between 9 and 11%, and I think that's way too high. I don't mind bidding 5%. I can get away with that and not really miss it. So I've been doing that, and we're going to see how it goes. I'm conducting some experiments this week. The beginning of the week was absolutely awful, pathetic. I decided to institute a little experiment on Wednesday, and things started looking up since then. I'll tell you more about that in next week's video. What I'd like to talk about now, returns, okay? And before I go to the cutaway, I'm going to show you a picture. As you know, I do get quite a few returns, okay? So, here I am in the street with somebody coming up behind me who wants to return an item that he purchased on eBay. Not bad, right? In the spirit of Halloween, I thought you'd enjoy that. What I'll talk about now is the cutaway. I have a really super interesting one for you this week about a bad buyer who didn't read. And this is a very egregious case. And before I spoil it and start giving away the plot line, let's go to the cutaway and then we'll come back and discuss it.
Okay, guys, please pay attention to the screen for this cutaway because I want you to understand the kind of aggravation I go through in a normal week. Let's start with this item right here. The other day, somebody purchased this item from me. Its title is New Key for Silver Plastic Bolts. Okay, new key for silver plastic bolts. There's your silver key, and I even have right here a picture of the silver bolt that the key will fit. So a person purchased the item outright. They did the buy it now, and no problem. I guess about an hour or two later, the same person sends me a best offer on this item. Now, right away, I know I'm going to have a problem because these are not interchangeable. Again, silver key, silver bolt, black keys with black bolts. So if I was to sell him this item as well, I know at least one of them is coming back. My first theory was that he was buying this key to take off his old worn out bolts, then was buying this to replace them with, and then was going to return this. That's what I thought at first. But I said, I'm heading him off at the pass, to use a cliche line. He's not getting these. So I declined that. And in the declination, is that even a word? No, in the declining, I said, why would you send me an offer on black bolts when you just made a purchase on a key for silver bolts? And I heard nothing back. So the next day or the day after was the holiday. Okay, so I shipped the items out. And today, guess what happens? I get a message from this guy, and I want to show you this. I'm going to read you what he wrote, and this is the typical eBay Motors buyer right here. This guy is typical. Will be returning this item. Does not fit 1992 Buick lock nuts. These lock nuts are identical to the two you have for sale and indicated to fit 1992 GM. Photos attached. As you can see, the keys engagement portion is centered as where the lock nuts is offset. Disappointed this didn't work. And I wrote back, I'm disappointed that you didn't even read the listing. It clearly says silver key for silver plastic lock bolts. You need a green key for green plastic bolts. I'm very disappointed that you didn't read. And if you look here, this is a great example. He's showing a picture of his green lock right here. See it? That's what he needs. He bought my silver one because he's a numbskull. But wait, the best part is yet to come. How old do you think this person is? I'm going to do something I haven't done before, and I'm going to show you a screenshot of a true people search, which is something I do for anyone that I suspect is an old timer. And I don't care how many of you guys get on my case for criticizing the old. I'm not criticizing, I'm stating fact. If I can show you conclusive proof that all the older people don't read and don't follow directions, well, then it's not hating, it's a fact. 73 years old, right there. 73 years old. True. I mean, have I proven my point, guys? I just make these cutaways to show you the aggravation in eBay Motors. And I really do wish that these older folks wouldn't buy stuff because they don't know what they're doing. And to get back to this, if you bought something from me, make believe you did, and it's the wrong size, and I accept returns for 30 days for any reason, what would you do as a rational eBay buyer. Think about it. What would you bought something, it's the wrong size, you made the mistake. I take returns. What would you do? Simple. Click on return this item and initiate the process. But as you can see right here, he contacts me through the eBay system telling me he's going to return it, and I'm willing to bet you he returns it outside of the eBay return system. I'll have an update on that next week. Let's get back to the video now.
Let me rehash a little bit now about what you've just seen. Do you ever make a sale on eBay, and when your phone goes ka-ching and you're all happy and you look at the phone and you say to yourself, oh no, I think there's going to be a problem? Well, that's what happened the other day when I sold the silver key. To prove my point, I even texted a friend of mine who sells on eBay Motors, and I said to him, I bet my life that this key comes back. The buyer had a feedback of 3. Okay? And you can just get the vibe from the kind of car it is that the guy's going to be an old-timer. I would have bet anything. Okay? And what made me even more nervous, as I said in the cutaway, was that after he paid for the silver key, he sends me a best offer on the black key and the black locks. So you know something's definitely wrong. And when I declined his offer, I said, you just bought a silver key from me. Why are you buying a black one now? Hoping to possibly head off any problems. But I kind of figured that he wasn't going to read, and he didn't. And he really needed a green key. Now, I can actually understand that mistakes are going to happen. I get it, especially in e-tail. Especially with the geriatrics. I get it. But if you look at the verbiage in what he wrote to me, he makes it sound like it's my fault. And any person watching this video who looked at my listing and saw the description knows I did the right thing and did my best to describe the item. But these freaking people don't read. And I would invite you to deal with the kind of people I deal with in eBay Motors, and you'll see how you'd react after a while too. It's just plain crazy. eBay for the longest time has been targeting younger buyers, or trying to. They're trying to reel them in with the sneaker category and things like that, because they say once they buy something in the sneaker category, they'll spend in other categories, which is probably true. But it's not true about eBay Motors. Younger people do not buy in eBay Motors, period. All right? Any guy under 30 years old does not buy in eBay Motors. I'm not saying they don't need what we have, because they do. You know what they do? They say to their parents, go look for a wheel for my car, or a taillight. Move! And the parents jump. And those are the ones who buy my stuff. Okay? That's something I've noticed. Even locally, guys under 30 rarely ever buy from me. Females are a different story. They're a lot more conscientious and a lot more together, and they will. They will do things like that. But I'm telling you, I wish younger people would buy on eBay Motors, because they have the smarts, all right? They know how to buy stuff online, but they won't do it. eBay Motors, let's face it, it is a cash cow. You'll make money, but you'll be dealing with a lot of the older people. Sure, you'll be dealing with middle-aged people too, who have everything together. And once again, I'm not saying every single geriatric is off the wall crazy. No, not at all. But what upsets me, like the case I just presented, is when they make a mistake and they try and twist it to make it look like cute Joey is at fault. Cute Joey's not at fault, okay? I'm very careful the way I list things. So yeah, a couple of interesting tidbits. Remember the set of the Lincoln alloy wheel center caps I've been complaining about over the last 2 months, whereas I would sell them for an MKZ and they would get returned? That was number one. Then I sold them for an MKZ and the guy had a Lincoln Town Car. Remember that one from last week? You must remember. Okay, well, they went out again. They went out on Thursday. Let's see if they come back for a third time. Also, coming back for the fourth time is that Cadillac chrome center cap that I did a video on a few weeks ago. I had meant to bring it here and I forgot I was going to show it to you. Those chrome wheel center caps come with different diameters, different backings, different part numbers, and I have everything listed. A wheel, a picture of the wheel, the part number, everything you'd ever want to know, pictures of the backing, and I have a disclaimer, which I showed you a while back. Please be careful and be sure this is the correct cap for your wheel, because 2 people have already made the mistake and each one lost $15 in shipping. Well, it happened again. Happened again. Same thing. And what bums me out is the right cap is available, the correct one that they need, but they don't want to spend the scratch for it. They see the one I have, which is much cheaper because it's less in demand, and they think they're going to get away by buying that cheaper cap. It ain't going to work, and they consistently lose money on shipping. That's one of the things I miss about the old days of eBay. You may remember, during the early days of eBay, it was considered the Wild West, where you could get away with just about anything as a buyer or a seller, either one. But in all fairness, I will say it was a level playing field. Sellers had rights, okay? If a buyer stiffed us, we could leave them negative feedback. And to this day, I think that should come back when they don't pay. I think we should be allowed to leave them negative feedback. But what I want to tell you that I think is kind of funny, one of the things that used to really piss me off big time was deadbeat bidders. And it was getting to the point that I realized I had to do something about it. So what I would do is I had this one item that I was sick of people not paying for. And you know how many people didn't pay for it? 10. So each time somebody won the auction, because back then I was doing auctions, not fixed price, each time somebody didn't pay, I started making a little chart right in the listing. The following people won this item and didn't pay. John Smith would be the first name. And after it, I would put his current feedback, which usually was a 0. Bill Jones, feedback. Mary Smith, feedback. It got to be 10 of them. 10 in a row that didn't pay. Can you believe it? This is a true story. I couldn't make this up. Another funny story I had back in the early days of eBay, also with deadbeat bidders, was I was having not only people with 0 feedback not paying, but people from Turkey. And it was driving me crazy. I told this story once before. So it got to the point that I had a disclaimer. Do not bid on this item if you have 0 feedback or if you're from Turkey, unless you contact me first. So I listed a set of Chevy spinner hubs on eBay. I don't remember what I started the bidding at. And I had 3 people bidding on them, fighting for them. But guess what? Each and every one of them had 0 feedback, and each of every one of them was from Turkey. Swear to Christ on the cross in Brooklyn, I couldn't make it up. I canceled all their bids and blocked them. That was a train wreck waiting to happen. But what I'd like you to do, guys, can any of you think of any amusing stories like that from the early days of eBay that you engaged in? If so, feel free to put them in the comment section below. I'd love to read them. I always read your comments, and in last week's video, somebody commented that they were able to purchase eggnog and suggested I drink it on camera. Well, look what I got here. I got a can of Coke. Do you know why? Because there's no eggnog in the supermarket here yet. I went flying down the dairy case to look for it, and there was no eggnog. Very disappointed. Almost as disappointed as the old codger who bought the silver key from me, even though he needed a green one. So yeah, guys, I'm not going to keep you any longer tonight. I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it both helpful, informative, and I also hope you found it enjoying. Please comment on any of the topics I've covered or any eBay topic you want to. Go out there, have a great weekend, rock on, and peace.